All right, everybody. I want to thank y'all for tuning in to One Objective tonight. Guys, we got a good show lined up. Sorry, I got the googles right now. I don't know why. But now we got a good show lined up for you guys tonight. It's been a lot going on in the fishing industry. Just trying to get a chance to even try to get a pro on Elite, FLW, MLF, or Bass Pro Tour, whichever side you want to call it. But everything was going on this weekend, James. I know you wouldn't have been able to keep up with much of it because where you were out of town this weekend, but it was so busy just with everything going on, you know?
Oh yeah, it's crazy right now. Anything and everything's going on right now.
Yeah. And on top of that, they had the first KBF FLW event on Lake Nickajack
Yep.
where they were sharing the stage with the FLW tour guys. So it was kind of a really busy weekend for the fishing industry.
Yep.
So, but congratulations to all the winners. To be honest with you, I don't even know who won the Bass Pro Tour today. But congratulations to everybody. Congratulations to the guys that fished the KBF event this weekend there. Casey, I think he ended up finishing 35th. So out of 100-some guys, that's not bad. It's not a bad finish
It's not
at all.
bad at all.
So, especially not getting much practice in and all that. So, congratulations to him. If y'all haven't checked out our last show, we had Casey on, and he was talking about his win at the Lake Anna Northeastern regional event. So, anyways, go check that show out. Please, guys, let's start it off by just, please go subscribe to our YouTube channel and give this video the thumbs up while you're sitting there watching if you like what we got. If you like that background we got up right now, go hit the like button. That's Chris's idea. He said, man, we need to really freshen the show up. We need to add something to it. So we went through and just added up a background a little bit. Kind of don't look black. It ain't just a black background. So thank you, Chris, for that excellent idea. But now we got a good show. But before we get to that, I really want to thank all our sponsors, and also next weekend is looking like it's going to be a good some good news for One Objective, and have a great offer for you guys. So I'm just going to shut it up right there, and y'all will see some news coming out about that here soon. So, but anyways, we just want to thank our sponsors, guys. You see them scrolling through at the top. Also, check out the link in the description of this video. Go show them sponsors some love because they show us some love, and we want them to keep showing us some love. So, and then without you guys, it's hard to get these sponsors. So we just want to thank you guys for tuning in and liking our videos and following us on Facebook and Instagram. If you haven't done that yet, please go do it. But now Bonafide, I want to thank them. They've had, as you can see in the background there, they have really supplied us with a really good kayak to be able to go out and do what we love to do. Jay says hello. What's going on, Jay?
Hello, Jay.
I miss you, Jay. But they supplied us with a really good boat, and it's a great platform for what me and James did this year with the trolling motors, and which I got a video coming out soon on our setup. James will have a video coming up here soon. Mm-hmm. It's just a setup on our kayaks. We got some new stuff that we've added to it this year, and we just kind of went in depth on it in our videos. So we'll have those up this week. I know I have mine up this week. Maybe James will have his up next week. Mm-hmm. But anyways, go check out Bonafide. Go check out Yak Attack. A lot of the accessories we have on our kayaks are all Yak Attack stuff. So make sure you go check them out. Check out Missile Baits. If you want some really great soft plastics, make sure you go check out Missile Baits. They have done really well for us for the last couple years. The Baby Destroyer is a big time bait for us. Can't tell you the exact color because I don't want everybody to know that. But the Baby Destroyer has been a great bait, as well as the D-Bomb. And they also got some other baits that should fit everybody's style. They got the new Ned Bomb out, which is a phenomenal looking bait. And then they also got some stuff for shaky heading and drop shotting and whatever you want to cover. They got a soft bait for any technique. Make sure you go check out Power Pole, because we talked about in the last show how important it was to have a power pole, as windy as it was in the last show, and the last term of Lake Anna. So definitely, and I talk about in the last video of people's, hey man, what do you think I should get first on my kayak? You think I should get a graph? Do you think a power pole's worth it? And I always tell people now, I've said it before. I told James he was crazy for getting on his boat. Thought it was stupid. I think that I was stupid for saying that. It's a great investment. I would much rather have that over a graph any day for my first thing on the kayak. So make sure you get you one of those, especially if you're a river fisherman. It's key. Whether you're just getting out wading up a river and you're pulling your kayak behind you, man, you can hit that button, sets it down right there. You got your rope tied to you in the front. That's how we do it anyways. And you ain't got all that weight hanging on you, And if you need to go back to your kayak and make some adjustments on tackle, you got kind of like a little workbench right there while you're waiting. So, also, we got the 2 new sponsors for this year. We got Hookfish Performance. They did really good on our jerseys and on our hoodies. Their hoodies are awesome. I mean,
they're like a jacket.
Yeah. Yeah, it's like a windproof, waterproof jacket, and it's awesome. And we'll end up doing a short little video about that here soon on that. But you'll see in some of our fishing videos, especially from Lake Anna, we'll have it on, and you'll see it's just a quality product. Biono Power, which is big time for us with the trolling motors, power poles, which I've been using the actual little battery that goes on a power pole, but James has been using. What are you looking at, Chris? I said it again. I said battery. Oh, but just running our trolling motors and running our graphs, I've been able, at least with the graph, going out several days without even charging it, and that's with running the Panoptix Live Scope and all that, So it's been a good battery so far. So, but also just make sure if I miss one, Accucoil has been great with their scales. They also should be coming out. I'm looking to see it come out soon because I did a video not too long ago on the Accucoil fish grip. So make sure you go check those out. That's a pretty cool idea they're coming out with, and I hope to see it come out on the market here soon. But anyways, if you missed any, please go check them out in our links. We got all of them in the description. I don't want to keep rambling on too much, but make sure you check them out in the description and go support them guys. But anyways, James, I know you had a busy weekend this weekend. Oh, yeah. You went out and had some good family time. Y'all went out and watched some drag racing.
Yep, went to the Street Outlaws No Prep in Maryland this weekend. It's way different in person than it is on the show. Yeah. They seem a lot faster in person than they do in the show. In the show, they're kind of broke down. You're like, man, they're pretty fast. Oh, they're really fast. Yeah, I think they set a bunch of different records and all that stuff up there this weekend, so it's pretty cool.
Yeah, definitely have to get up there and have to check that out next time. And did you get any pictures up there? We'll have to share some of those pictures up here soon.
Well, I've got tons of pictures and tons of video.
Oh, man. Well, you got to put together a video.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking.
Yeah. That's what we I was talking with Chris actually earlier and doing some more different videos because we're planning on going down to VR Speed Fest, taking my son Matthew down there for his birthday, which we celebrated this weekend, but we're going to take him down there for that. And talking about being OneObjective outdoors is what we want to change it to so we can start covering more of that stuff, with four-wheeling and car, just stuff we love to do, everything we love to do.
Yep.
Fishing is a very big part of our life, but there's a lot of other things that we've always loved to do and grown up doing, and that a lot of people don't get to see. So we're planning on sharing a lot more of that here in the next couple weeks, couple months. So
absolutely.
But Chris, what time we got, man? 9:10. Sorry, we got about 5 more minutes before we call Rick Tilley in. Yeah, it's kind of busy for me. We did the car show thing as well. We're just going to try to go to the Friday night drag strip, Natural Bridge Friday night test and tune. But here it is in Virginia. Every Friday night we get thunderstorms. It's just a thing now, it seems like.
It's April.
Yeah.
May.
Yeah. Every Friday night. It won't rain all week long. But Friday night, buddy, you're going to get a storm. So just how it goes. But weather comes in on the weekends. So anyways, we didn't do much. Just car shows, all that stuff, the good springtime stuff. So plan on getting some fishing in next weekend. I did start on my small kayak trailer, taking the bunks off and getting all that ready to start putting all the piping and all that to hold the kayak on. So
that's cool.
Yeah, so something that's a little bit easier pulling just for, the longer trips that I ain't going to be out of town long. Go to like Farmville or just run to some kind of lake. I don't need to haul that big trailer. So
yeah.
Just makes it easier. So, but anyways, James, you got any plans this coming up weekend to do any fishing, or are you going to just kind of take it easy? You ain't in a month long this
No, I didn't sign up for the month long because I'm planning on doing a bunch of different stuff this month.
Yeah.
But we'll probably go fishing sometime this week or this coming up weekend a little bit. I don't have a whole lot planned going on, just hanging out.
You got Mother's Day coming up, so.
Yeah. When is that?
Sunday. Sunday. So, hey, man, you better go ahead and make plans to get something.
Okay. Yeah. Thanks for that.
Yeah. You know what you did on Ashley's birthday? We was buying graphs. So.
Buying graphs, and
yeah.
I bought a boat one time on her birthday.
Yeah.
So,
bought a graph on your wedding day.
Yeah, I bought a graph on my wedding day. Yeah.
Was it a birthday or y'all's anniversary when we bought those graphs? The Garmin's. I think it was y'all's anniversary.
That was our anniversary.
Yeah.
I gotta hit every, holiday. You know. So I'm working on it. Yeah. I bought myself something just for putting up with her. You know what I'm saying?
Oh man.
I hope she's not watching.
Yeah. She's probably listening. They know how we are.
Yeah.
But yeah, now I'm gonna try to get out. I've been fishing a month long, and for some reason, and we'll talk about this after we get off the phone with Rick Tilley, because we're gonna be going into some post-spawn stuff, and trying to get on the night bite as well, talking about some of that. So, it's been tough for me. I hear a lot of people talking about it's tough, but then you look at the English Choice Tournament and how many big bags were brought in. I mean, 21 pounds wins it. Several 18-pound bags, and I'm like, man, what body of water are they on? It's just it's been a struggle, but I haven't done much fishing up here during the day. A lot of mine's been at night after work and stuff, so I'm planning on maybe getting out sometime this week up towards Farmville or somewhere. I don't know yet, and just trying to get a little fishing in. So right now I only got 2 fish put on the boards. I haven't put none up there yet, but it don't look like many fish are being submitted. It's been kind of slow. So I think there's 2 90-inch bags up there. But other than that, it's been kind of slow.
Yeah, that's not too bad for May 5th.
Tammy said she's been listening. You're in trouble.
Oh, I ain't worried about her.
But anyways, Chris, let's go ahead and start calling Rick, and we'll get him on, and we're going to talk about why this win was so emotional for him. If any of you guys that fish around from that lake, y'all know, everybody knows Rick Tilley. He's a good guy. He's great to talk to, on and off the water. He's really good at fishing. So, we'll get him on and talk about his win and him taking home I think it was like $45,000 bass boat. So, hey, Rick, you got me?
Yeah, man.
Hey, man, how's it going, Rick?
It's going, man.
I hear you. So, you still coming off a high from last weekend?
Yeah, it's been pretty exciting. Phone ringing a lot, text messages, Facebook blew up. It was really cool though. I can't complain.
No, you bring home a new boat. So, and the cool part about it was I was following you through Facebook, and you caught that fish first thing in the morning, on the first day of the event, right?
Oh yeah. About my 4th cast.
Oh man. So I mean, you know,
seriously, and I pretty much like thought about it. I was like, because everybody was like, "Well, you caught it first thing." I was like, "Yeah, I think I made like 3 short casts, and then I got right down the bank I wanted to throw down, and it was like my 4th cast. And I probably didn't reel handle like 6 or 7 times, and she blew up on it."
Oh gosh,
goodness.
And I mean, you got 3 days to think about this. I mean,
yeah. Hey, I lived it, buddy. Yeah, you don't have to tell me anything. It was so stressful because you have your phone on, you're listening for the dings, the updates, and every time somebody weighed, it really affected the way I fished because I was like, "Hey, Dad, check the thing, man. Check the tracker."
What time did y'all take that fish in and weigh it in? Did y'all fish all day and then just take it in later in the afternoon, or?
No, I really did not realize how big that fish was. I mean, it was dark, that was the darkest morning we had. So, I mean, cloud cover and everything that morning, it was pretty dark. So, I mean, literally my dad couldn't find her with the net when she was coming to the boat because he didn't have a headlight on. And I mean, I caught her so quick. I mean, the bell went off and I made my first little cast. I made the second, I made the third, made the fourth cast. And I mean, he was just kind of sitting there. He wasn't even fishing yet. And so she was coming and she jumped. And when I set the hook, I knew she was a big fish. But when she was coming to the boat, he's trying to clip the light. I tried to clip my light on. I missed my light first time. I was afraid I was going to lose her. And I finally got my light on. He didn't even have his on his head. And he finally got eyes on her, put her in the net. But, I mean, after we got her in, I just didn't really realize. I knew it was a big fish. I've never caught a fish there that big in the past, and I've caught plenty of 4 and 5 pounders there. And so we waited anyway. Long story short, we waited till the weigh-in started, and we kind of watched it. I was really fishing more than paying attention to it at that point because I didn't think that it was going to be the big bass of the event, of course. So
yeah.
About 20 minutes left in the hour, and my dad was like, "We probably ought to weigh that fish." He said, like a 520 was leading, I think, or something like that. I said, well, we'll kind of go down closer to Crazy Horse and see, because I think we might be able to win this hour. So that was kind of our plan, just win the hour and get us a first place check. We've never gotten a first place check. We've gotten some checks, but they've never been first places. So we just kind of went down towards Blackwater, fished a few minutes, and we didn't weigh her until we got in sight of Crazy Horse almost. I mean, we pulled into the creek there and pulled over in the cove. I pulled my scale out, and my scale was stuck on kilograms. I couldn't get it on the pounds. And I'm like calculating in my head. I'm like, I think she's 6 pounds. It was hilarious. I said, well, let's go over here and see what happens. So by the time we get to the weigh-in, somebody had weighed in a bigger one, like a 540 or 560 or something like that. But I was like, I think we've got it. So I'm going to go ahead and weigh it in. There was like 5 minutes left in the hour. So I went up there, and when he said 667, I was like, wow, she was just really healthy. I mean, I couldn't tell. I don't think she had spawned. But she wasn't real, blown up with eggs or anything. She was just a really healthy fish, thick through and through, so when I weighed her in and she weighed that, I was pretty excited that we won the first hour. And then we just went back business as usual. We went back out fishing, and nobody that day beat it. So I was really surprised.
Yeah. Now, kind of going in your head, you load up at the end of the day and you're like, man, ain't nobody beat this fish yet. Kind of going into the second day, ain't nobody beat that fish. What's starting to go through your mind then?
Well, I mean, I made it through the first day. I was pretty excited. I didn't sleep very well Friday night, of course. But then, I figured that somebody would probably beat it the next morning, but that cold front was coming in, and it got pretty chilly that next morning, but it was crazy. I started on the same spot 3 days in a row. The second morning, there was actually more activity on that bank than there was the previous morning. The previous morning, the wind was blowing a little bit, so you really couldn't hear any shad, couldn't hear any fish. The second morning, we just sat there, and I mean, we were listening to the fish. I was like, oh my gosh, we're going to crush them here this morning. And I mean, when 6 o'clock came and the bell went off, you had barely any darkness left. I mean, it was getting light really quickly, and it was almost like somebody reached over and turned the switch off. The shad stopped, the fish stopped. I caught a 2-pounder on about my 4th or 5th cast, and then I didn't catch anything else until I backed off the bank, and I threw a swim bait out, and I caught a striper. And then it was done. And then the third one was kind of the same thing. But I told my dad, I said, man, we'll see how it goes this morning. I said, man, it was pretty active, so somebody probably caught a big one this morning. And then we made it through the second day, and I was like, oh, my gosh, man, this is nerve wracking, man. What are we going to do? But then I started to think, I said, maybe this fish is going to hold up. I mean, if it's meant to be, it's meant to be. But I was really surprised. I mean, Smith Mountain's been showing out, man. It's been so many big fish caught. I mean, in the Angler's Choice, the March Angler's Choice. I mean, Denny Gilbert had a 720. I was fortunate enough. I caught a 762 in the Angler's Choice event and ended up with big fish at that event and finished fourth. So I mean, that was pretty wild. But I mean, there's big fish in Smith Mountain Lake.
Yeah. Yeah, there's real big ones. I can't catch them, but I know there's big ones in there.
I get lucky every now and then. I've caught 8 fish. I've caught 4 fish over 8 pounds out of Smith Mountain. One of them was 893, and I mean, there's some big ones. I mean, case in point, this past yesterday, we fished the Angler's Choice event yesterday. I saw the biggest bass that I've ever seen in Smith Mountain Lake. Wow. She was in a foot of water. I mean, I couldn't catch her obviously, or I would have won the event. But it was over 10. I know she was over 10. She was huge. I mean, she was with a carp sitting on a point. And when she started to swim down the bank a little bit, I thought she was a striper. And then when she literally turned back around and came towards the boat, and I mean, I got a good look at her. She was probably 30 inches long. It was the biggest bass I've ever seen. It was just unreal. I could not believe how big this fish was. I mean, like I said, I've caught some big fish, and I was beside myself. I mean, my heart was beating out of my chest yesterday. I had a little dinky 8-pound line and throwing a Ned rig yesterday. I was like, well, I hope she eats it, but I'm kind of scared.
Yeah, you hang one of those on a little Ned rig. You know what I mean? You're already down to a small line. That'd be real nerve wracking.
Oh man, I'll tell you what. But I mean, you could literally watch this fish for about 4 or 5 minutes. Cruise down down the bank, and then she kind of come back and. There were 2 stumps. I kept wondering if she was going to park on one of those stumps. So, I mean, I backed off and watched her for several minutes. And then she kind of went back to the point and she cruised down the bank and disappeared. But like I said, there's giants here in this lake. So I was really surprised that my fish held up to win. But I knew if I could make it through the last morning there, when that last morning rolled around, the first 2 hours, nobody weighed anything in that beat her. I told my dad, I said, unless somebody really wants to pick on me and weigh something in the last hour, they were good.
Oh, yeah. Man, that'd be heartbreaking there in the last hour. Oh, yeah. Lord, man. Yeah.
I think a few years ago, somebody lost it in the last hour, if I'm not mistaken. About 3 or 4 years ago, somebody lost it. I think it was Dwayne Beaver. Dwayne lost it in the last hour or two. Somebody weighed in a fish bigger than his. He led the whole event. Caught it first thing in the morning on Saturday morning, which was a 2-day event. But I think somebody in the last hour or two came in and beat him.
Oh gosh, that'd be sick.
Yeah, like you said, heartbreaking, dude, heartbreaking.
So now, Rick, we've hosted a lot of events that you and your dad have fished with us, and I know you and your dad have fished a lot of events around the lake. How awesome was it for your dad to be with you winning this boat?
It was the best. I mean, I've come really close to winning a boat before. We used to fish with Johnny Martin a lot, and we've come close. I finished second in a big event, championship event one time fishing with Mike Burchett for a boat. I've come really close, and I'm kind of glad. I wish I would have won before, but I'm kind of glad that the first time was with Dad. I mean, when we're fishing for a boat, that's pretty much the biggest prize some guys like us, weekend guys are going to ever win. So fishing with Dad, and I mean, we were super excited. We didn't talk about it much as the fish was leading, because I didn't want to jinx it and he didn't want to jinx it. And, it was just one of those things, man. It was unreal to win. And, when the buzzer went off, they closed the scales, and we just kind of looked at each other and gave each other a hug. And we were riding back down the lake, after fishing the final day. And I kind of reached over and put my hand on his shoulder, and I was like, I think we might've did it. He's like, I think you're right. And, it was pretty wild, man. I mean, my dad he's a great person. He's been a great father. I love fishing with him. He loves fishing with me. We have fun out there. We're like really best friends, you know, when we're out on the water. And we're like that at home too. I mean, but to win it with Dad, man, it's pretty special.
Well, now what your dad don't say a lot. You know, your dad's at least around in the tournaments. He'll talk to me here and there, but he's a man of few words. You know, he shows emotion, but he's just a man of few words. I mean, when y'all left that event and was leaving out of it, what did he say? I mean, did he even say much? Was he still quiet about it?
Yeah, I mean, we talked. We talked about the excitement of it and how we still couldn't believe it. And you know, I told him, I said, well, we got a good problem to have now. We got to figure out what we're going to do with this boat. He said, yeah, I know. And, you know, it's even the next day. I mean, he has the pictures on his phone, and, you know, Dad still works. My dad sells rainbow vacuum cleaners. He's been doing it for like 37 years or 36 years or something like that. And, I mean, all of his customers, he shows them the pictures on his phone about me and him fishing. And he's just a real proud guy when it comes to the fishing. You know, a lot of people say, well, it was nice that you taught your son how to fish. He goes, shoot, man, I didn't teach my son anything about fishing. He said, I used to take him fishing, but he taught me everything there is about fishing. But, I mean, Dad is, you know, if he catches a few fish in a day, he's tickled to death. If he catches a keeper that goes in the basket, he's you know, he's not a pro fisherman by any means, but, I mean, he's my wingman, you know.
Yeah.
And but yeah, he's getting into it. He loves that everybody treats him like one of the guys when we go to the events and everything. And, you know, he sits with, like we sat with Denny Gilbert yesterday, and he's just talking to Denny, and we were all talking. Everybody talks to Pops. Brian Carter calls him Pops, you know. And, I mean, so people call him Pops and stuff like that. It's pretty cool. I mean,
yeah.
But he was super excited. I mean, he just he's still talking about it. He said, man, it's just unreal. It's just unreal. And I'm like, yeah, it is. It's pretty amazing to win a boat, man. I mean, it's a great payday. I mean,
yeah,
you know, I mean, we do this obviously for fun, but I'm pretty competitive. You guys know that.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
and they're both like, yeah. I mean, I am. I'm really competitive. I hate to lose. I hate to lose at anything. I mean, I can't play go fish with my kids without trying to beat them. You know, that's how I am.
Yeah. Yeah.
But Dad is he's just tickled to death. So we're really stoked to be able to pull it off, man.
Yeah. Now that you got the boat, have y'all decided y'all gonna sell that boat, or you gonna sell your boat, or how y'all gonna do it?
Yeah, you know, we have been looking at boats a little bit in the winter, and getting a little discouraged at how much boats have went up as far as price goes. I mean, it's a little discouraging. I mean, they're so expensive now, and I mean, I remember when I was on the Skeeter team way back in 2005 or 6 or something like that. I mean, I bought a fully rigged with the best stuffed Skeeter that you could buy for like $28,000, and now that same one is like 56 to 58,000. I mean, it's insane.
Yeah.
But you know, us fishermen keep buying them, so they're going to keep on making the prices go up. But anyway, we got to thinking about. I would love to keep that boat, but of course, you know, there's tax ramifications on it. So you know, if you keep it, you're going to have to pay the taxes out of your pocket. If you sell it, you just pay the taxes when the time comes, and you know, take that money and do whatever you want with it. So I think for now we're just going to keep my Skeeter. I mean, if that boat was a foot longer, we might consider doing something with it.
Yeah.
But it's beautiful. I mean, they did an excellent job with putting that boat out there. I mean, it was one of the nicest ones I think that they've given away. They really upped the game this year. I mean, they used to put like a 150 or something on it, you know, and man, it had the Ultrex. It had 2 Humminbird helixes on it. It came with a cover. It's got the 200 Merc, the new one. I mean, it was done up. I mean, it's anything that anybody could ever want. But like I said, if it was about a foot bigger, we might be driving a nitro.
Yeah.
But I mean, we might. We're thinking about maybe waiting for wintertime when somebody might have some deals, and I might put my Skeeter up for sale. And then, you know, in the wintertime they always run the promotions where you can get the extra warranty for the couple extra years, you know, something like that.
Mm-hmm.
We just missed that as far as buying a boat. So if we wait till next January or so, maybe we can get us one and get the extra warranty. You don't have to pay extra money for it or something. So
Yeah.
I think we're gonna ride the Skeeter for a little bit and see what happens.
The Skeeters won a lot of money.
Yeah, I like that Skeeter. it has a good live well system.
Yeah. I know when we did the fall events, and you and your dad were coming in with 20-some pounds. You know, Scotty and all of them would come in with 18 something. You know, I mean, that's a good, respectable bag. And then here comes Rick Tilley in with 21, 22 pounds, something like that.
Yeah, we had over 20, I think, three times when you guys were running those events. Man,
yeah.
It was pretty special.
Yeah.
And I remember, like, because I had Evan fish with me a couple times, and we're running up the bank, and I see you, like, shoot across from us, and we see you over fishing. I'm like, all right, well, we're kind of in a good area. You know, and then like, yeah, they're in here, so we got to be in a good area. And then, you know, we catch, I don't know, 8, 9 pounds, and then I was like, well, I wonder if Rick and them had a good day in here. And then you come in with 20 pounds. I'm like, you got to be kidding me. I know where he's fishing, but I can't catch him.
I love the late fall and early winter tournaments. I really do. Early fall is not my thing. You know, that's a tough time to fish just about anywhere you go. But when it starts getting cold, I got a little something figured out most of the time. But, you know, there's some boys up here that are hard to handle. And like I said, I don't like to get beat. So I had to get pretty good or I just had to stay home, you know.
That's right. And the thing that gets me is the Claytor Lake guys. They'll come down and hammer them on Smith. You know, they're just
like
Zach Peasley
like
and all
Jason
that.
Adams, Zach Peasley, Jason Adams, man, those guys are good fishermen, you know, and they've been doing it for a long time. And so they've taken what they've learned up there, because Claytor's a tough lake. So I mean, you got to get good. And then, you know, you come down here, they call this a dream place compared to what they have at home. And, you know, they love it down here. So they've put it to work on this lake. I mean, they really have. Peasley, he's hard to handle. Jason Adams, anytime he gets on boat, then you put them together, man, it's like insane. Against those guys. Then you got Ben and Brandon, the Reynolds boys, you know, you got the Ross team, you know, with the Jeff and Clay. I mean, they're, like I said, man, there's some guys here that they're just absolute hammers. I mean, if you can't fish, you might as well just walk up and give them their money, man. I mean, it's just, here you go, guys. I'll see y'all next week. You know.
Yeah, them guys are always on them. You know what I mean? And it's amazing how those guys are so consistent.
But I've never gotten real good with my electronics. A lot of these guys nowadays are getting real good with that, and I got a mental Rolodex that just won't quit. You know, I've been fishing for a long time up here, and I kind of put that to work most of the time. And, you know, there's some days that I come in, and I'm a hit or miss guy. I'm either really up there or I really don't have much. You know, when I have 12 or 13 pounds, that doesn't make me too happy. So, you know, when I have over 17, 18 pounds, I feel pretty good. And then every now and then I'll look up and catch some really good ones. We were on a good pattern yesterday, had a good bag of fish going on, and then we had like 4 hours to get a big one, and I saw that giant that I was talking about, and then, you know, we never did catch another big fish. It was hard just fishing. We caught a lot of sight fishing yesterday, and that was about it.
I heard, I talked to my boss Roger. He fished it yesterday, and he was talking about how tough the fishing was, you know, and
it was.
But, you know, then you still got guys catching 20 pounds, and you're like, man, what lake are you guys fishing? Like,
well, it's like that with everybody, though, man. Somebody's always going to catch them. I mean, you got 116 teams, I think, out there fishing yesterday, and a lot of those guys are really good. So, I mean, somebody's going to catch them. Somebody's going to find them. I know Ralph and Justin Hicks very well. I really respect those guys. They're good people, good Christian people, and they're nice people. And they told me a little bit about what they did, and, I mean, they didn't have anything fancy going on beyond what anybody else did. They just they had a little good fortune come their way, and, you know, they capitalized on it. And it made all the difference in the world. So.
Yep. Now let's talk. Normally we do an in-depth segment, and I don't know how much you want to go in depth on what you caught your fish on, but.
Well, I'll tell you, it was pretty. It was pretty easy. You know, it was kind of like last year. You know, when we talked about my BFL win. It was the same deal. The shad spawn, man. The shad spawn at night, and I've been fishing this lake for so long, I know where to go. And the previous week, before the week of the big bass tour, I had taken my son out. He's 9, and he'd never been nighttime topwater fishing with me. And so I took him out, and I bumped into a friend of mine at the ramp, and he was like, "Hey, man, how you doing?" I said, "I'm doing good, man." So I brought my son out to hopefully catch him some pigs tonight. And he's like, "Man, good luck. It's really tough up here on this end of the lake." I said, "What?" He said, "Man, they're doing the thing down at the end, down at the lower end, but up here is kind of slow." I said, "Really?" On the Roanoke River being the upper end. I said, "Well, we'll just go out and tool around a little bit." Well, we visited a couple of banks that I usually do real well on and didn't catch hardly anything. I was like, "Man, we got like 2 bites." So I told my son, I said, "I know a spot." I said, "We'll go there." I said, "They're always here this time of year." I said, "I'll catch you a big fish." And he hadn't got real good with the bait caster yet, so I made like 2 casts down the bank. I handed him the rod, and I mean, he just 5-pounder, boom. It come off the same exact, probably within a foot of where I caught the big one for the bass tour, for the big bass tour. So, anyway, after we fished that night, I knew that there was some fish there. So, I went out Thursday morning before the tournament, and I got there pretty early, and I just wanted to look around and listen around a little bit. And I took a thunder stick and took the hooks off of it, and I started throwing it around on I ran a bunch of different spots just looking, see if I had any followers or anything come up and hit it. And I only had like 3 bites that morning, so I put that down, picked up a Sammy with no hooks on it. I started throwing that around a little bit, and I had some pretty decent blowups on the Sammy, like behind docks and beside docks and stuff, pretty early, and then that bite just evaporated. So I just went looking and looking and looking, But the shad are spawning pretty good, and so I just knew. I said, well, with what I found today versus what me and my son did the other night, I said, I think I'm going to start on that spot where my son caught that 5-pounder. So we sat there for about 20 minutes before, the alarm went off. And when it went off, I mean, like I said, about my 4th cast, I knew there would be a fish there. I just didn't know it would be the winning fish.
Yeah.
But it was on an old school thunder stick. I mean, nothing special. I do change the hooks on it most of the time and put, good hooks on. I put number 2 kamikazes on there or number 2 owners, whichever is readily available where you can find them, And, I mean, a lot of guys are throwing some different kinds of baits now that, do the top water thing. And that, I think a lot of people have gotten away from throwing the thunder stick. So, I mean, I've just never put it down. I really that's one of my favorite things to throw at night. And so I chose that for that first thing that morning. Probably what I'll choose again next year.
Yeah.
I don't blame you. And that, and I think that's what's kind of screwed me up this year is I've went to what a lot of guys throw, have been throwing the last 2, 3 years, 4 years. And I got away from the thunder stick. Yeah. And I got some advice from a guy Friday about, going back to that and fishing it more. And, another big bait for me is a jitterbug. I don't know if you throw that much anymore. But
Dad used to throw the jitterbug while I threw the thunder stick, and he catch some fish on that while I caught him on the thunder stick.
Yeah.
But I've got my special little colors that I like, and I don't really think it matters. I really don't. I think if the fish are there and they're hungry, when that thing comes by, they're going to eat it. I mean, a buddy of mine started throwing that other thing that everybody throws. He started throwing that years and years ago, and he caught some really big fish on it. So he told me about it, and he said, "You need to throw this thing, Rick." And I was like, "I might try it." And, I bought a couple of them, and I tried it. I mean, if you hit the rocks with it, the bill falls out, breaks, stuff like that, they're expensive. So I was like, I don't know. I got a little – I've never – to me, personally, I don't think I've ever done that much better on that than I have just a regular thunder stick. I've bought a couple of little glide baits that I've tried. I've tried like the Strike King, the Wake Shad or whatever that thing is. I've tried quite a few of those. One of the better ones that I've had a little success on is that Livingston thing with the little jitterbug lip on it.
Yep.
The Walking Boss or something like that. Last year, I caught quite a few fish on that, but I broke both of them that I had, and I haven't bought any more. So I put my little old school thunder stick on and went to town, dude.
Yeah, I think it's got a different rattle to it than a lot of like some of the other baits. It's got like a tungsten knockers in them, and
Yep,
the old school Thunder Sticks got beads, and you can hear them
it
rattling
does.
around in there. And I think
It does.
it's a
You
big
can shake
difference.
them in your hand and hear them rattle in there. It's got something the fish like. And I mean, I don't know why Smith Mountain fish like that thing so much, but they really do.
Yeah, yeah, it's crazy. But James, you want to ask a few more questions about it?
Yeah, I just wanted to ask, what are you looking for when you go to catch like post spawn bass?
Well, this time of year can start getting kind of tough. I mean, they come off the beds and they kind of scatter about. I mean, you can catch them. Really, it all depends on the weather a little bit. I mean, if it's cloudy and rainy, you can kind of stay up shallow and catch some of those fish on top water and things. And I mean, don't get me wrong, there's a top water bite almost all day long, even in the sun. Sometimes, you can catch them when they come off the beds. Fry garters and things like that will eat top water. But I mean, the thing I'm looking for the most, I guess, when I'm going after those post spawn fish is being somewhere where the shad have been spawning. I mean, that's a pretty good
Mm-hmm.
indicator that there's going to be some bass around there somewhere. I mean, when the shad first start spawning, I mean, you'll catch pre-spawn bass, you'll catch bass that have already spawned out. I mean, it's a mixture, and these fish, I mean, they know where they're going, just like we know. Now, we've been
Yeah.
fishing. I've been fishing this lake for over 20 years. There's a million banks out there that don't have any shad on it, and there aren't going to be any fish on them. And then
Yeah.
there's the ones that have the shad, and the fish come in. So I mean, it's for me really, it's just the experience of being on this lake for so many years. I know what banks not to fish, and I mean that's just as important as knowing where to fish. I mean and sometimes it's just making the right decision. You just say, hey, I'm going to start here, and you could very well start somewhere and not get a top water bite never materializes for you during that day, and you're like, well, and then somebody else goes down the right bank and catches 2 5 pounders off that bank. That's just the way it goes in tournament fishing. But I mean, but the shad are a big deal for the post spawn bite, and I do like top water. That's one of my favorite things to throw. So I'm always checking top water bite, and I usually take my hooks off in practice. And if I get some bites or some blowups, you just kind of got to put together some kind of pattern that you can run. Smith Mountain's not a great pattern lake, but if you get in the right areas where those fish might be, you're going to catch. You're never going to catch like 20 fish off one spot or anything. But
No.
if you move around from different bank to bank and you're looking for areas that did have that shad spawn, you're going to find some fish and you're going to catch some.
So pretty much you just use moving baits pretty much to
Yeah, I'm
handle.
a big moving bait kind of guy. Anyway, I love throwing a swim bait. I love throwing a I used to love the spinner bait a lot until I got real caught up in the swim baits. I throw a swim bait a lot, and I don't throw a big fancy one. I throw like a 4 or 5 inch swim bait. Usually on an open lead head, just either a ball head or one of the little minnow looking heads.
Yeah.
But I'll throw those up around just about anything. Yeah, I get hung up sometimes, but I skip it up on the docks and throw it around docks and between that and the topwater baits. And if I get a bite on something, I miss it. I've usually got a shaky head or a Cinco or something rigged up that I can throw back. I'm a big throwback kind of guy. I mean, if I get a bite, I always tell my co-anglers, like in the BFL,
Yeah.
I had a guy
Yeah.
one time. I had a guy one time with my co-angler. I had a bass at the James River blow up on poplar, and it missed. I pulled my lure in, put it down, was picking up my spinning rod, and he threw over there and caught that fish. And I looked at him, and I'm like, dude, what'd you just do? He's like, I'm sorry, man. I fished a lot of team tournaments. It was a reaction. I was like, well, it's going to be a reaction if I don't catch another fish today. And luckily I did. And I think I got a check that day. So I was pretty happy. But man, that could have really cost me. But I'm a big throwback kind of guy. I mean, if I get a bite on a topwater bait or a swim bait, if they miss it, you can bet I'm going to throw back. So I always tell my co-anglers, like, look, man, you fish all you want, but if I get a top water blow up or something like that, I want to throw back. Please don't throw it. That's the
Yeah.
only reason
Yeah.
I say that. Other than that, we're gonna get along real well today. We're gonna have fun. We'll catch some fish. But yeah, that's a. But I'm a big throwback guy. I like throwback. I mean, if you get a bite, they show you where they are.
Yeah.
And you might go down 20 different banks and not get a bite. You don't know where they are. But when you go in somewhere and you get a bite or two, and if they don't connect, I mean, you can come back on them a little bit later, or you can throw them back there. Or, you might catch that fish. They're there for a reason. They want to be there, so just throw it back on them and try to catch them.
Absolutely.
I don't like slowing down a lot. I like fishing. So it's one of those things. I move a lot. I had a friend of mine tell me one time, says, "You like to fish too much." I'm like, "What do you mean?" He said, "You just fish too much. You cast and reel." I said, "Yeah, I do. I like to cast and reel." Makes me feel like I'm doing something.
That's right. That's right.
Josh, did you have anything else that
Yeah.
you wanted to ask?
Yeah, when it comes to, we're talking about throwing back in after you get a blow up. Now, we're on the shad spawn and you're throwing a thunder stick down the bank and you get a blow up. What is your bait to go to, or do you just keep chucking that thunder stick over there? Because
Well, like if we're night fishing.
Yeah, yeah.
If you're night fishing, a lot of times I'm so keyed in on the thunder stick that I'm usually throwing the thunder stick.
Yeah.
and I will throw that back over there a couple times. And probably should have something else laying on the deck of the boat, but most of the time that's all I'm doing. I have thrown a jig back over there and caught a couple of fish. I have thrown a chatterbait and caught a couple of fish, but I'd be lying if I said I had a plan when it comes to those fish.
Yeah.
When it's night fishing, I'm going down the bank and I'm only going to particular areas, and I mean I move the boat a lot. I might revisit certain banks like 4 or 5 times in a night, but I do a lot of moving, and sometimes I only go like 100 foot down a bank. I'm gone. I mean, no need to fish 4 miles of bank when you know they're only on the 100-foot mark.
Yeah.
But so I'm covering a lot of water, and a lot of times with those thunderstick fish, I'm not following up probably as much as I should, to be honest with you. But when it comes to top water daytime, when you're coming down a bank or going beside docks and stuff, I mean, those are fish that you can catch probably, I don't know, 25 to maybe 40% of the time. You might catch that fish on a throwback bait.
Yeah, yeah. What is I know a lot of guys have different line choices. I've always used braid when I go throw thunderstick stuff like that. Do you use that, or do you go to like mono or fluorocarbon? Yeah.
I got one of my buddies that will argue with me hands down that mono's the best. 20-pound mono, 17-pound mono, whatever. I throw the same thing I go up to the Potomac and throw a frog with, 65 or 80-pound braid, and I just kind of hold my rod up a little bit, try to keep the braid off the water.
Mm-hmm.
And I do take a black Sharpie and I mark my line. I even throw braid on my daytime stuff. If I got a Sammy or Rico, I lighten it up a lot, like 25 or 30-pound braid. That Slick 8 from Power Pro is a really good one for top water. It's real supple and limber. But like when I'm throwing a Sammy or a Spook or something like that, I throw that. But I always color about 3 or 4 foot up the line with a black Sharpie. I think that hides it a little bit better in the water. I've always done that.
Yeah. Yeah, that's always been a thing on my mind. I do it a lot too, with getting right up in the rocks, and you don't have to retie as much, because you're not getting all the abrasions.
Man. You don't. You throw that thunderstick or whatever on that braided line. You don't have to worry a whole lot. You hook them, and that's another thing. Just when they hook, there's no stretch. So when they hit that bait, you're not really setting the hook real hard on that bait, and they really get it a lot better, I think, with braid. But that's my opinion. But I probably switched to braid probably 10 years ago when I started throwing it really.
Mm-hmm.
A couple of the pros that I know were talking about long casts and topwater presentations, and they had switched to all braid when they throw topwater. And I was like, I've never really tried that. So I put that braid on I got a big flipping stick that I like to throw my thunder stick on. I've had it for a long time. It's my favorite rod. If it ever breaks, I'm gonna be sad. But but I love that rod for throwing that thing. But yeah, like I said, even with the smaller topwater baits, I throw the braid. I like it. That's really the only time I throw braid. I've got I threw an A-rig a little bit this winter. I've never really done that much, and I did that with 20-pound fluorocarbon. And I had success with that. I liked it. That big fish I caught this year, the 762 and the Angler's Choice, I caught on an A-rig, and it was on a 20-pound line. It did me just fine, but like I said, that braid. If I'm up at the Potomac flipping like one of the big weights, ounce, ounce and a half, I'll
Yeah.
throw braid. But that's the only other time I'll throw braid.
Yeah. Yeah, especially around Smith. It's hard to if you're throwing. Now I thought like fishing a drop shot or something like that. I'll have a leader, but other than that, everything else is either fluorocarbon or mono or whatever. But my top waters I use mainly braid now.
Yeah, I think I don't even own a spool of mono. I don't know if I've got one single spool of mono. I use 8 pound fluorocarbon. Well, I use a braid on my spinning reels, and I put 8 pound line on my spinning reel. I used to be a 10 pound guy. I went down to 8. I think I get a few more bites. I know some guys that throw 6, but I just can't make myself do it.
No, no.
And then
Yeah.
I just can't do it.
Yeah.
And I mean, shoot, I hooked a 5 pounder uh, during the Thursday practicing for the big bass. I hooked a 5 pounder on a Cinco, and it wrapped me around 2 metal poles, and I still got the sucker in. So I mean, that stuff's pretty strong.
Yeah.
If you let them have new line, you can't just winch them out and let them, just grind on the pole. You got to let them keep going a little bit and then try to reel them back in. But I got a 5 pounder in that wrapped around 2 dock poles. That was fun. But if you know what you're doing, you can have a little patience with it. You can still get those fish in.
Yeah.
But I throw like for the swim baits and stuff, I throw 14 and 16 pound fluorocarbon. I like the Sunline. That's been one of my favorites. I've had a lot of the Sunline's got a thinner diameter than some of the other ones, and I really like that. It's got high strength and thin diameter. The Seaguar is real good on a spinning reel. That's what I usually throw on my spinning reels. But 20 pound fluorocarbon for my jig and spinner baits and stuff like that. But I'm not a big mono fan anymore. Haven't used it in a long time.
Gotcha. I understand that. Well, Rick, I really appreciate you coming on, man. You give us a lot of information, especially around Smithtown Lake area, and big congratulations to you and your dad.
Thank you, buddy.
It was just awesome seeing you guys get it. I was really happy for you
Yeah.
guys.
I really appreciate that, man. I'd like to thank everybody that's out there for all the support and all the calls and the texts and messages and everything. It was really, really an incredible thing, and to do it with Dad, like I said, it was really awesome. So I really do appreciate all you guys, all the support. It's been incredible, man. I appreciate it.
All right, brother. Well, you have a good one, man, and look forward to seeing you getting some more wins this year.
I appreciate it, brother. You guys have a good one.
All right, man.
All right, thank you.
All right, see you.
See you. Bye.
All right. Yeah, it was just following along with everything. I was checking in here and there and seeing who was getting checks, and I also had another friend of ours that used to fish in the club, Ethan. He had brought in a 5-something, and he don't fish a lot of tournaments, but I mean, he used to fish with us, and the ones he fished, he's one of them guys that they don't fish a lot. When they fish though, they catch big fish. You're just like, God, dog. He's like, I ain't been on the lake 3 weeks. You've been practicing and fishing every weekend, and this guy comes in with huge bass. You're like, God dang, man, what'd you do?
Yeah.
But no, it was several people that I know that got checks, and congratulations to them guys. But it was just really awesome to see Rick Tilley and his dad. And his dad's a super nice guy, and it's like you said, people call him Pops and all that. He's just always fun to hang around and talk to. But him and Rick's the same way. They're always willing to talk to you. They ain't gonna turn a cheek and walk the other way, and they're always willing to help. So, but I tell you what, if you've been fishing Smith, that right there, that episode with Rick right there was really good. I mean, Rick can catch some big fish. Like I said, he does really well in the fall and in the winter, and they love those events. But it's all like I said, that thunder stick is a big fish bait, and that's something I've been thinking about. And I was talking to you actually today about it, switching back over to it.
Yes, you are.
Just the other baits don't seem like I'm getting blow ups behind the bait right now, and I've even slowed down my reel, and I can't seem to get them to hit the bait. If they do hit it, they ain't got it. So it's like they're just swatting at it, like they're almost like telling you to get the heck out of here kind of deal. And then, you'll get it in, and then, like, all of a sudden you'll start hearing blow up again, and you cast over, and they don't do nothing with it. So it's just like, it's just not cutting it. So the only reason why I got away from the thunder stick was the amount of stripers that hit it. You know, and don't get me wrong, I love catching a striper, especially in a kayak. But I just got away from it because it didn't seem like the stripers hit the other baits as much. So I don't want to really say. Most people that fish in that lake know what I'm talking about, the other baits, but I really don't want to talk about it right now, guys. I don't want to get into that bait.
Yeah, you don't want to get your butt whooped next time you show up to the boat ramp.
Yeah, but now since we're on the post spawn pattern, James, what are some kind of the go-to baits? I know Rick Tilley was talking about the topwater deal down there in your area. I know you like flipping Texas rigs and jigs and all that, but is that something you primarily stay with when it comes to the post spawn? Is there any particular bait you like fishing more during that time of the year?
I just need to get better fishing faster.
Yeah.
You know, I think I struggle with that part. I know if I put something like that in my hand, I can go catch them. You know, throwing a topwater all day long, I don't know.
Yeah.
I just don't. I've never had confidence in it. But I have a buddy that lives right down the road from me, and he throws topwater all the time. But he fishes like the James and stuff like that. But I've never done it at Smith. But apparently, you can catch them at Smith because I fished a lot of tournaments where Rick Tilley's in there and whooped my butt.
Yeah.
So,
yeah.
So,
and
I just need to get better. I just need to put it in my hand, but it's hard to do that when you fish tournaments. If the only time you get to go out and fish is when you need to be putting fish on the board or be putting fish in a live well, that's the hard part.
Yeah.
Is just being able to go out there and just play, and get better.
And it is tough. I know, like say, during the day, I can see what he's talking about. If you can find some good shady spots, but I can't make that happen at Smith like I can Bugs Island. You go down to Bugs Island. For me, that lake fishes like a lake should fish. You go down and you find some shady banks. You throw a popper or a Zara spook, and I mean, man, you could be casting out in the middle of the cove. If it's shady, and you see fish, shad popping, whatever. Alan's been with me a couple times. I've gone in there and I've caught nice fish just casting out in the middle, and they're just coming up from the bottom hitting it. So, but I had to have shade, and that's how I make a topwater work at Bugs. But like Smith, when I always got a shaky hit or a drop shot, mainly drop shot and eco rig actually here lately, it seems like I'd much rather go to that when the sun comes up. I stay with the topwater early in the morning. Sun comes up, I'm like, all right, I got to flip a dock with a drop shot. That's it. After that, I don't try nothing else.
Yeah, like you said, I mean, Bugs Island is a whole different beast.
Yeah.
That lake I do probably fish more topwater and more moving baits on than I do fish anywhere else.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, it's definitely
that's the hard part.
Yeah.
I've just never caught a ton of fish on moving baits at Smith.
No.
Well,
for me, if it is, it's in the fall.
Yeah.
Crankbaits, spinner baits, stuff like that. But.
And in the spring, we caught them on moving baits.
Yeah.
Really good.
Yeah, jerk baits, crankbaits, stuff like that have done good early in the spring, but it's like we were talking at the Lake Anna tournament. During the tournament, we talked to each other, and it was like, it was like, I think it was like, 9:30, 10 o'clock. Bite was still kind of tough, and we're like, you know what? This is what we always say to each other. We're like, we know how we fish. The bite's going to turn on for us. Me and James have always fished slow, flipping, pitching, Texas rig, shaky head, stuff like that. And we can normally manage to make something work. And it didn't play out as well at Anna, which was actually moving back towards the reaction baits through the day. But
we threw reaction baits all day.
Yeah, just in a bad spot, just not in the right spot, which you would think it would have been the stuff we was fishing. But yeah, I think that's the key is not sticking with one bait. I know some guys will stick with one bait, and we're bad about it too. But actually getting out there trying different things, So if you're going to win a tournament in an in-person event, you got a good chance at winning a tournament if you come in with 80-some inches, mid-80s.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? But if you're just going out and you're catching 12 to 14-inch fish, you're not going to win nothing. Now, you might do good in points, But I think I'm going to try more this year of just fishing for bigger fish than I am really for the points. Because, I mean, the way they're giving away the chance to go to the national championship in the top 3, if you got 30 guys in the tournament, stuff like, what are you drawing?
Nothing.
Oh, he was drawing something. Did you see that picture come up? Yeah, it's old Bob Ross hour. Drawing happy little trees and stuff. But yeah, I think that's key is just, those topwater baits or during the post spawn and stuff they're big fish baits. They're not baits that you're going to get a lot of blow ups on, not unless you got that magical day, but in all actuality though, you're not going to get a lot of blow ups, but you're going to catch big fish if you do get one on it. So,
absolutely.
I think my post spawn bait mainly, kind of getting back to what I was talking about with staying with certain baits, but first thing in the morning is the shad spawn, and I think a lot of people forget about that. But if you can catch it, that shad spawn don't last long, but if you can it's like the guy that won the Lake Anna event on the Virginia Kayak Bass Challenge. He come up on a tree after the sun had come up, but it was still shady where the shad were spawning around that stuff.
Yep.
And you can find stuff like that where you still got shade. If you really pay attention and keep looking around, like if you listen to Rick Tilley, he was talking about he pulls in, he listens. That's what you got to do. You'll still hear them fish flickering, or you'll hear one bust every once in a while. You really pay attention. You just pull into a spot and kind of listen. Or as you're fishing, pay attention to what's going on around you. Always scanning, looking. You'll pick up something. They'll tell you something. And sometimes it'll be a clue to turn you on to a different bait or turn you on a different spot or depth or any of that stuff. So, but yeah, I mean, I'll start out with a spinner bait up on the rocks or trees, laying over with some rocks nearby because the shad seem like they pull up to that stuff and start spawning. So, little things like that hanging in the water where the shad can hang on to, spawn, and have a little bit of cover to get away from big fish is stuff I'm looking at throwing a spinner bait. And then, as the day goes on, I'm starting to kind of like we talk about flipping trees, putting shaky heads around stuff, drop shots around docks. But as the post spawn bite goes on, you also got the fish fry. The fish fry, the fry. That's the fish fry. We're catching them and eating them, boy.
So you can catch the fry garters.
Yep. You got your fry garter. So if you really pay attention around docks and trees, you'll see those black balls of fry, So it's key when you get out there going fishing this time of year, paying attention to what's around you. Once you get later in the summer, we know the fish pull off, then you're hitting points and stuff like that. But staying in the post spawn pattern there, I think it's key to really pay attention to where you catch spawning fish. So if you got a bed nearby or an area that looks like they would be bedding, or you see empty beds or anything pay attention to what's near there, whether it be a tree lay down, whether it be a dock. They love floating docks around Smelt Lake. You'll see those fry swimming around in floating docks, especially if it's got a lot of shade on one end. And then bass will sit right up under that floating dock. And you can bring buzz baits down, hitting them floating docks, stuff like that. They love that stuff. So just pay attention to little things like that. But other than that, James, I think we covered post spawn pretty good.
I think so.
You got anything else you want to add in tonight?
Not that I can think of right now.
Yeah, just stay tuned, guys. We got more videos. Actually, I'm planning on having this other video up tomorrow on my kayak setup. So stay tuned for that. Like I said, we got a potentially new sponsor coming in for the next show. We'll have a lot more information coming up probably around Wednesday on that, if not Thursday. And then they'll be on the show. Me and Chris are going to be working a little bit on some things this Saturday and possibly have James involved with it too. But we're looking at expanding the different there we go. We got Chris there. Different platform for our show. So we'll still be YouTube Live, but we're contemplating on going over and doing some more Facebook Live as well with the show. So it's just something we're talking about, thinking about. That way you have two different platforms you can kind of view us. What's that?
Dual streaming.
Yeah, we'll be doing some dual streaming. So, but just stay tuned. I don't know how the next show is going to go. It might be that way on the next show, or it might be the show after. So we're just trying to expand out, get some more people in, make it a little bit easier for people to find us. I know some people don't get kind of lazy, don't like to hit that link button to take you to our YouTube channel. So if it ain't on Facebook right in front of them, they don't care to listen to it. So we're going to work on some of that. But anyways, guys, please go subscribe to our YouTube channel. We're at 2,120 last time I looked. I don't know what we're up to now. But you can also go check us out on Instagram. We've been doing a lot more stuff, some of our pictures. Well, the same stuff you see on our Facebook. We add a little bit odd end things there on Instagram too. So make sure you go check that out and follow us. And find us on iTunes. I tell you something, we'd really like to get if y'all could just go on there and give us a good rating if you like the show. And it helps us get our show out there a little bit more if we get higher ratings. So if you could do that, hit the thumbs up on this, guys, and we'll talk to you later. Check our sponsors out in the description. Y'all have a great weekend. Send some fish pics in, and we'll be glad to share them for you. We'll talk to you later, guys. Night. See you, James.
See you, man.